Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness!
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Nathan.
Welcome to episode 179 of Adventures and Mousecapades. Tonight, we're going to talk all about Banana Ball.
Yes. We just watched Banana Ball on TV.
For the first time.
And, wow.
It is a romp.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah.
ESPN and Disney Plus are going to start showing these games starting, I think, June 6th or 7th is the first game that they're going to show. If you guys have a chance, watch one of these because they are fun.
Yeah. They're pretty insane. Mm-hmm. Pretty insane. Well, what we're actually talking about today, for the first time in 25 years, an entirely new major theme park has opened in the U.S. What does that mean? Is it good for Disney or the beginning of the end? Question mark. Join us as we chat about the new park, what we see Disney doing in response, and some of our overall thoughts. All right, Alicia, Universal's Epic Universe.
Yeah, Universal's Epic Universe.
Yep. Announced in 2019.
Yep.
Took 6 years to come to fruition.
For
consumed every construction crew in Florida.
Yes. Just opened a couple of weeks ago, and it looks epic.
I see what you did there.
Epic Universe is 750 acres, which is the largest of the Universal properties. It has 5 themed lands and is heavy on intellectual property IP.
Yes.
The 5 lands are Celestial Park, which is kind of right smack in the middle of everything.
It's the one that is not IP.
No, the one that is not IP. Dark Universe, which is all the Universal monsters. So like Frankenstein, Invisible Man, Dracula, Wolfman, all that amazing stuff. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic. Super Nintendo World, and How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. Those are the 5 lands.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. They're not lands. They're portals.
My apologies.
Jeez. Mm-hmm. There's also 3 new hotels, including one with its own entrance to the new park, which multiple Disney overseas parks have, but only Grand Californian has a direct entrance into California Adventure here domestically. Mm-hmm. So this is in Florida. It is just up I-4. It is separate from Universal's other 2 parks, which are Islands of Adventure and Universal Orlando, the OG. So it's interesting. It's like a 15-minute bus ride or something like that from what I've heard to get between the 2 campuses, I guess you will. It's not like Disney World where you're inside the Disney bubble. You're just driving along a very business-centric area. So there is no bubble. But, I mean, this has been pulling a lot of attention in the theme park blogosphere, vlogosphere, social medias, all the rest of that stuff. Yeah. There's a lot going on around Epic Universe. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about it. Alicia, what's your initial impression based on what we've seen?
Based on what we've seen, I think this park looks amazing. Yeah. We don't have any plans to go to this park in the near future. I know we do want to visit eventually. I don't know. I like a lot of the IP that's there. I love Harry Potter. I love How to Train Your Dragon. And just the stuff that we've seen with regards to team members and I don't know what you would call that, just walking entertainment. Streetmosphere. It looks phenomenal. Like it's what Disney kind of used to do with their characters, and Universal has really stepped it up with this, and I hope that this translates to Disney stepping up their game a little bit.
At least getting back to what it used to be.
Yeah.
Like the citizens of Hollywood have been gone from Hollywood studios there in Florida for a long time. They're back in California Adventure, but they're still not back after the pandemic 5 years ago there in Florida. So yeah, there's definitely room for improvement.
Yeah. What we've seen online, every single portal has characters walking around, and they are highly interactive.
Yeah. Do you think that'll stay?
Oh, I hope
that is
so.
labor intensive. You're paying for, equity rates for performers. That is, they earn more than your ride attendant does.
Yeah. I know that is rightly an expensive thing.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not knocking the value or the quality or that these folks shouldn't be earning those wages. I wonder how soon somebody in operations goes like, man, do we really need to have all of these people out all the time?
Yeah. I do hope they keep it. That adds such a special experience, I think, for folks.
Agreed. It's just the bean counters can easily get in the way of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we've seen in How to Train Your Dragon Land, Isle of Berk, they have Rough Nut and Tough Nut, the twins out walking around. They have Gobber. Sorry for those of you who are not familiar with the franchise, but they have a lot of characters out there that are in the movies and in the shows, just out walking around and interacting. They also have baby dragons, which I want to see so bad. I also want to see Toothless because dragons. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
These are the baby dragons are actually I'm very intrigued by. And I'm half intrigued because it's just a really cute animatronic. I'm more intrigued because these are like the was it the Boston Robotics? Yeah. Like dog-like robots.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of cool to see what they can do. And, hopefully this is not the first tranche of our robotic overlords coming into our world to take over. But,
I mean, if they come in looking like that, it's okay.
Yeah, but you can't tip them over.
Oh, that's okay. You know what? They can be my steed.
Hopefully they won't make you their steed. I mean,
no.
What's the most interesting thing about Epic Universe? And let me actually, before we go there, let me step back. We don't have plans to go, not because we don't want to go, just because we don't have room in our schedule to go in the next
2 years. Yeah.
Question
2 years or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get there eventually. We definitely will. It'll be nice to have it hopefully toned down a little bit, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
What are you most interested in seeing based on what we've seen so far?
Personally, Isle of Berk.
Yeah.
I love those movies. I love the How to Train Your Dragon stuff. I love dragons. And the fact that Toothless is very cat-like and dragon-like, and they have a meet and greet with Toothless where you can do that same, hand out touching the dragon pose.
Yeah.
Like, I know when we go to that, I will probably be bawling and crying and just overcome with emotion. I think that looks amazing. I think the other one I'm actually really interested in is Dark Universe.
Interesting. Yeah, you do. You are very dark.
I am. No, I just think the land looks really cool. Yeah. And I am very excited to see how this will translate to Disney's Villains Land.
Oh, interesting.
I want to see how Disney responds to this.
In their design. I mean, they've already announced Villains Land is coming for Magic Kingdom. There's no specific date that I can recall off the top of my head. It's probably
date.
No, I think it's probably a few years out from opening. Disney does different takes on things, though.
Yes, I know, but with the way that we are seeing people react to this park and just their thoughts on it, I think this is this is a win for anybody that likes theme parks.
Yes.
I know there's some people that are like Disney versus Universal, and no, I mean, we love Disney and we will go to Disney.
Yeah.
Universal, we haven't historically gone to just because we are larger people and we don't really fit on the rides.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a lot more, the rides are more intense. And while I am great with those, Nathan is not great with those.
Yeah.
But we still love Universal. Like when we were there.
Love is a strong word for me. I am more interested.
Still enjoy it.
Enjoy it. I think Disney is a much more immersive experience to date. And this is why I'm actually excited about at some point in the future going to Epic Universe, because these portals are way more immersive.
Yes. And I think that's maybe just the modern Universal, the more recent stuff that Universal has done, which is the Harry Potter land, that is extremely immersive.
Yes, agreed.
And I don't know that, I think that's maybe the first, like, maybe not the first, but that's more of a heavy IP based thing that they've done. I know they did the Simpsons land area, and that's kind of cool, but but I think Harry Potter was the first time they really dove deep into an immersive land, and they knocked it out of the park, honestly.
Yeah. I don't understand this edition of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic, which is a thing that is in London. And so you base the thing in France.
No.
The area is Paris.
Yes.
And yes, you go through what the Flume travel or
Metro Flu
to teleport over to London. But it's just weird.
It is odd because it's like part of it, or the land itself, is based off of the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them franchise, I believe.
Oh, the one where I only saw one of those movies. Got it.
Which takes place a lot. How would I say this? It takes place way before the Harry Potter franchise.
Well, I mean, Dumbledore's young and hot, but
yeah.
I don't know about way before. Where did the other? So there's 3 of those movies. Is that right?
I think so.
I only saw one. That one took place in New York.
Yeah.
So I guess the other ones go to Paris?
The second one goes to Paris, I think. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. But yes, the big ride in there is the Ministry of Magic. And to get that to there, you go through the Floo, which is FLOO.
Yes. You walk through the fireplace. And
you walk through the fireplace and
smoke,
poof,
and teleport.
And smoke. And I think this looks amazing.
Agreed. It's just odd. Like, if you want it to be set in London, set it in London. Yeah. Now, I can see why you'd want to set it in Paris, because Paris is a lot more of a beautiful city than London. Like,
and
no shade to the UK, but
they also already have multiple parks that have the Harry Potter.
That's true.
Stuff.
They've already got
Diagon. Yeah, they've already got Diagon Alley. They've already got Hogsmeade twice, maybe even 3 times, I think.
Counting all the internationals.
One of the international parks have it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They're trying to do something a little different.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I'm more interested in going to Epic Universe. As you said, I'm interested in the vibes.
Yeah.
I don't get many vibes of just being there and for the experience of the 2 existing Universal Orlando parks.
Yes,
I'm
agreed.
very interested in just going to Epic Universe and being able to hang out, because I think that is an experience that I will enjoy, even where I can't get on. I could, but we'll opt out of getting on of several of the more intense rides because I want to keep my lunch.
That roller coaster there looks amazing. I can't remember what it is. It's in the Celestial Park portal. I think it's Stardust Racers or something like that, and it's literally racing roller coasters.
Yeah, they're side by side.
Yes, it looks fun.
Yeah. So. Happy for you. So we mentioned Disney a little bit.
Yep.
How does Disney react? We've this has been 6 years coming, so it's not like it's, pull a curtain back and surprise, there's a new theme park.
Yeah. No, they've known about this for a while, and people have said, like, how is Disney going to respond and blah, blah, blah. Well, this park did not just appear overnight. They've known for a while that they were going to build.
Right.
Before they started building.
And Disney's already responded.
Yeah.
Like when we were at D23 last year,
all of that stuff
is Disney's response.
Yeah.
So now the proof is going to be in the pudding. And I think where I am more trepidatious, we'll say, about Disney's capability. No, capability is the wrong word. I don't have a ton of confidence that Disney will execute at the level that Universal just did, because I think from what we have seen in a lot of stuff that's come out and been developed over the last decade, there are grand visions that get whacked and pared down by mid-project budgetary concerns. Even though they're on budget, they'll just get their budget slashed, and then it gets turned over in this. It's largely executed, but then it's not ready for operations, and then it's kind of haphazardly put together. I'm making it sound worse. I'm using the wrong words, but it's been a long week. I'm concerned where we saw Universal go all out and execute at what appears to be a really high standard with a high operational cost with all the characters and just all of the immersion. I could see Disney executing the facility and some of the rides to that level, but I don't have the confidence that they'll get that last mile done and actually execute at that level. And I hope that seeing what Universal has done at Epic and the response to that will influence Disney to actually see their original, more grand designs through to fruition.
That was what Galaxy's Edge was supposed to be. It was supposed to be highly interactive, where you go on the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run ride and cast members would know how you did on that and comment to you afterwards when you're walking around. There was supposed to be a lot more characters walking around there. They've kind of done a little better about characters walking around, but in California, yeah, but you see the stormtroopers, but you were supposed to see Rey all the time. You were supposed to see Chewie all the time.
Yeah.
And
there was supposed to be another ride.
Yeah, there was supposed to be another ride.
There was supposed to be, and I don't remember which animal it was supposed to be, but some giant animal that you could, take a ride on their back around a bunch of the spots. And, where Chewie and Rey are often seen kind of above, I call it the garage, where they're working on the speeder, the land speeder there. That was like where the entrance or the onboarding and offboarding area was going to be to do these big, huge animatronic walking thing rides.
There's stages all over the place. There's raised stages all over the place in that area that just are not used.
And that's, I love Disney. We love Disney. That's what I'm worried about. They don't have a good history in the last decade or so of seeing some of this stuff through.
Yeah. Now, I will mention that Fantasy Springs over in Tokyo Disney Sea was announced in, I think, 2015. So, like, Universal and Disney are kind of going back and forth here, it seems like.
I understand why you bring up Tokyo Disney Sea and Fantasy Springs. I will just point out that the funding and operations of Tokyo Disneyland Resort and Tokyo Disney Sea and all the rest of that stuff is from the OLC group, which is an in-country Oriental Land Oriental Land Company. It is a local entity that effectively licenses all of the Disney IP and everything, and then hires Imagineering to go build stuff, and then they run it locally with.
That's true.
Like basically Disney's a consultancy. That is not Disney corporate putting their money on the line, and so that's not Disney corporate having an ability to whack a budget at the last minute.
Yeah.
As much as we've heard look, there are just mixed messages about the announcement of Disney having a very similar partnership with a company in Abu Dhabi.
Mural or something like that.
To basically do the same thing. They're going to open a Disney park in Abu Dhabi. I think I heard the other day it's supposed to be like largely indoors.
It has to be.
It really does have to be over there with the heat. But I think it's going to be the largest indoor theme park in the world is the quip that I heard thrown out. I think it was on Disney Dish. Anyway, again, I have confidence that that park will be executed at a very high level. Now, I'm not going to get into all of the political issues around would you, could you, should you with that culture and with that country and all the rest of that stuff. There are lots of valid perspectives all around, and I'm not discounting those. I just don't want to get into it because that is a no-win situation for us. We hear you. In many parts, we agree with you. I think it's also fair to say we can all be of two minds on these things. Like, yes, it's exciting to have another option.
Yeah.
We may never go there. It's unfortunate there are some cultural issues that go against some of the stuff that's in the Disney community internationally. That sucks. That's horrible. But we're also excited about a new Disney thing. Like, there's the real world is not black and white. It is many shades of gray, and this is a difficult one to get to grips with. But if somebody is willing to go write the check, Disney's willing to go be their consultant.
Yeah, and they're saying it's going to be built in like 5 years.
I mean, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, like all of these places over there have all sprung up in the last 2 decades out of almost nothing in the desert.
Yeah.
I don't have any doubt that they will be online within 5 years. That seems completely viable. Now, if they were going to try to do something like that in Florida, I would say 10 or 15 years to do all that. But, well, whatever.
Disney has a lot of projects coming up for their domestic parks.
They do.
They have a lot.
Are they stretched too thin? They have to do this. Like, I'm excited for it. I am worried about it. Like, I'm of two minds. So what do they have coming up? You've put together a little list.
Yep. Over in Orlando, in Hollywood Studios, Monstropolis is coming. They're going to totally reimagine the Muppets area over there. And it's going to be Monsters Inc. land, basically.
Yay.
Yeah.
Love that. Now, I will say, I'm just going to insert here, we are of an age where, and as are many in the Disney community, where losing the Muppets at this level hurts hard.
Yep.
I'm excited that they're going to retheme Rock and Roller Coaster away from Aerosmith, because that band is done, and make it Muppet themed and the mayhem and all the rest of that stuff. Great. Love it. Disney is making business decisions based on what pulls people in.
Yeah.
And if everybody who is so passionate about the Muppets had continuously engaged in those things in the park in Hollywood Studios, it would still be there.
Yep.
So, yes, it hurts, but we all implicitly made a decision for Disney of, hey, we'd like to see something else here because we're not going to go see this. And we have to eat our vegetables now.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Tangent off. Monstropolis is coming to Hollywood
Monstropolis is going there. There's going to be a new coaster and something else. They haven't announced what it's going to be. There's going to be a show, they said. Are they going to take over Muppet Vision 3D, that
No,
theater?
they have to. I mean, that is a show building.
Yeah.
Hollywood Studios needs shows, theater buildings to eat people,
Yes.
to
Yeah.
provide ride capacity, attraction capacity in the park. Yes, that something will go in there. They haven't said what it's going to be.
So that's what's going on in Hollywood Studios. They just opened next to Rock and Roller Coaster, the new Villains show, and the name of it is
Unfairly Ever After.
Unfairly Ever After. Yes. So that just opened up. And they're retheming Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yes.
And that's what they have announced for Hollywood Studios.
Magic Kingdom is getting Cars Land, or Cars at least.
In Frontierland.
In Frontierland, taking over the vast majority of what used to be, or what is on its way out, I guess we'll say, the Rivers of America
Tom
River.
Sawyer Island.
Yep,
Yeah.
all the rest of that stuff. And then they're getting Villains Land that is out beyond that.
Yes.
So lots going on there. Tons of potential. They haven't really said a whole heck of a lot about what is going to go into Villains Land. Just the way the physics and the geography of the park go, they will need to materially get a bunch of the new Cars ride done before they can really do Villains Land, because their only way to have construction access into the middle of that area for the Cars ride is through where Villains Land will go. So,
Really?
yeah, I mean, not the whole part of Villains Land, but a big chunk of it. Yeah.
I thought it was kind of back behind Big Thunder Mountain area.
Yes, but
Oh, they have to go. Sorry. Yes,
they have to go through
yeah, they have
there.
To go through, my apologies.
Right,
Yes.
right. For
Yeah.
to do construction on the Cars ride, they have to go through what
Yes.
will become Villains Land. That's what I'm trying to say. If I said that in a weird way, I apologize.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm a little torn on this one because you are getting rid of water.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's a safety thing. They're too worried about alligators.
I don't know. I mean, it also is great at kind of breaking the park up. So I will be interested to see how the ride that they are putting there will do this.
Yeah.
In Animal Kingdom, Dino Land is done.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. It is becoming the Tropical Americas. There's
Cool.
going to be Encanto Land area there, Casita, and the dinosaur ride is being rethemed into Indiana Jones.
On board. Let's do this.
Yeah, no, I'm good with this.
Yeah. And I think it will be interesting to see how popular this becomes. I think Disney has a very large following of people in South America, especially in Brazil. I think now Encanto and all the rest of that stuff is set in Colombia. Yeah. So not Brazil, but I mean, another big draw. I have a funny feeling. This is complete prognostication, pulling this one out of my brain, not based on fact, but I think if this does well, then we might see an announcement for Epcot of one of those open pads for country pavilion expansions that never landed, to maybe get a Brazil or a South America more generically. But my guess is Brazil.
Well, what about, was it on Disney Dish? They also talked about maybe possibly with this new park announcement, maybe we might get a Emirates Land or something like that. Nobody's in Morocco.
Do you retheme Morocco?
If they're going to pay for it, they need a sponsor.
I mean, that, so if folks don't know, I mean, all of those country pavilions all have had, especially at the beginning, a sponsor, whether it was a country or a big company from those countries that helped fund the build out of those spaces
And maintain it.
Right, and most have a ongoing relationship with a corporate sponsor or a country sponsor. And oh boy, there's a third rail here in politics. I don't know how much I want to say publicly.
Yeah. It's a possibility.
You named a country/brand that has a lot of money behind it in Emirates.
Yes.
And I could see that happening. I could see that being very controversial for lots of different reasons. And I don't know if Disney has the intestinal fortitude.
Oh, if that would fly in the domestic parks? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. No, I can see that and kind of agree with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Animal Kingdom needs. Sorry, I'm flopping back to Animal Kingdom
it's
here.
fine.
Sorry.
Well, I brought up Epcot. I still, I mean, they did a D23 down in Brazil. They've been trying to lean into more stories from the Hispanic, the Central and South American, worlds and countries. That is a whole continent missing from World Showcase.
True.
Now, arguably, so is Africa because a refreshment station doesn't count.
No.
So I would love to see something done about both of those things.
Yeah. I'm going to pop back to Animal Kingdom for a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Because this park is often viewed as a half-day park. Mm-hmm. Because there's not as much to do there. There are the same amount of rides at Animal Kingdom as there are at Epic Universe. Rides and things to do.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. That's a really interesting perspective. So do we start calling Epic Universe a half-day park? I don't think the answer to that is yes.
No,
because
probably not.
Epic Universe is so immersive in those portals and those lands that, and a lot of that has to do with the streetmosphere and the special things that you can do. Like,
and they do have expansion pads there as well.
yes, I think there's 2 more.
No, I think there's more than that. I think there's 4.
Okay, got it. And then I know each of the existing spots, or some of the existing spots that they did build have additional expansion pads ready for rides in those areas. Like I think there's 1 or 2 ride spots open or ready or kind of penciled in to be built just for the Nintendo world.
Yeah.
We'll see. They have 750 acres over there. They have a lot to work with.
Yeah. Speaking of Nintendo World, I'm going to talk about the roller coaster that they have there, which just looks ingenious. The Donkey Kong mine cart roller coaster thing.
Yeah.
Where it looks like you are jumping over empty tracks. This contraption, how they built this ride vehicle, just blows my mind. If you have a chance, take a look on YouTube and look at the roller coaster and how they have it set up.
Yeah.
It just looks really fun.
Yep. All right, so Epcot.
It just did a thing. It needs more work. It really needs more work.
It needs to have the grand vision that Epcot suffered horrendously from what I was talking about a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
There was a grand vision of what was going to go in with this refresh and all of the new Communicore Hall and all the rest of this stuff. And the budget got whacked hard, and we ended up with a nice fresh coat of paint on a concrete box. And it's this is the problem. This is what I'm afraid of that they're going to do with some of the stuff.
And there's still a lot of stuff in Epcot that has not come back. There's between where Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is and Mission Space.
Oh, that's right. There's that whole pavilion.
There's
over there.
that whole pavilion right there that used to have a bunch of stuff. It used to be the Play Pavilion. It used to be
something like that.
Something other stuff. That has been closed for quite a while. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of other areas over there too. Like we need more over in Epcot.
And there are multiple expansion pads available for countries.
Yep.
Like net new could be built.
Yeah. Over to the left coast.
Indeed.
Disneyland doesn't really have a whole bunch coming other than the 70th celebration and the new Walt Disney animatronic.
Well, true. There's this whole Disneyland Forward program that they haven't really said a whole heck of a lot about. And I don't think we're going to hear a bunch about until probably D23 next year.
Maybe.
Is my guess on when we'll get some more specifics. But yeah, there's nothing announced for Disneyland right now. Disneyland, like the OG park in California, it is a very complicated, like just physical space Tetris problem. There's not a lot of room.
But there's a lot of stuff there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that park.
Yeah. It is difficult for them to expand and change or replace or do things like that because of just how tight everything is and how surrounded and boxed in all of that stuff is. There will be some very, very significant construction projects in the works for Disneyland to address all of that, because they're going to have to move some major puzzle pieces in terms of parking and all sorts of other things around to do some new things. Now, we've seen some high-level sketches of some of those ideas of what they're wanting to do, and we'll see how that all comes out in the wash. I'm very thankful that Anaheim seems to be playing ball with them again and not trying to strong-arm them. So I have hope that things will happen. But again, people are going to have to be willing to A, write the check, and then B, not renege on the check.
All the expansion is happening over at California Adventure.
Yeah.
The new Avengers campus expansion is going on there. There's a new Coco attraction happening and the whole Avatar land.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 rides in the in the Avengers campus expansion, right?
Yes, there's 2 rides in Avengers. I don't think they've said where the Coco attraction and Avatar are going yet.
No, there's been a lot of speculation, but nothing specific. Again, I think Disneyland Forward, some of the concepts that have been thrown around have been adding space to both parks. So we'll see how that all plays out in the end and see what lands.
Do you think all these announcements that we heard at D23 last year were in response to Universal Epic Universe?
I can't imagine that wasn't part of it. I'm putting my cynical, I have an undergraduate MBA, right? I don't have a very positive, I'm just going to say that. I don't have a lot of confidence.
I like to see this. I like to see new things from the parks. I like to see new innovations. I like to see that they're wanting to update and change things. And I know eventually things that are beloved to us will be going away, because that's the park has to evolve and change.
Yes, 100%.
And it will happen eventually. But I still like to see new stuff.
Yeah, and you can't keep everything that was around and just keep adding on new stuff. I am not opposed to change in the park. I am opposed to change in the parks when we end up with fresh concrete boxes that are just empty and are pointless, like we saw in the center of Epcot. Like that is a travesty. And that shows that the bean counters won. Thank you, Bob Chapek.
With the new management, do you think old management, do you think there's going to be any difference?
I would imagine that there's a lot of discussions right now on what they want to do. I have to believe what's running through my head right now is I believe they will I could see a succession plan formally announced for Bob Iger to finally retire and have somebody else take over and let that new person be the one to announce some of these bigger things and these bigger details and drive stuff to success.
Yeah.
I think if Bob Iger is in charge when these things get announced, that is a disservice to whoever follows Bob.
Yeah.
just politically and all the rest of that stuff. I think what we saw last year with Bob Iger at D23 didn't really do a ton. He was on stage for just a little bit to kind of kick things off and do a couple announcements. And then at least for the parks and everything, like that was Josh D'Amaro's show.
Yeah.
And that says a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised if Josh takes over. And I hope he or whoever takes over is willing to maybe, Disney has historically had this kind of like dual-headed monster at the top. Yes, there is a creative and there is a business person, right? And I mean that was Walt and Roy.
Yeah.
That was creative and business. There's been a lot of other examples of that through the years, and then we had Bob Iger as kind of creative. And then, unfortunately, Bob Chapek took over and was business. And we need to have the top dog be creative again with a strong business partner to help make all of that successful. But the creative part has to win. And it's not a competition, but the success of Disney as a company through all of its various avenues. We're talking about movies and television and sports and theme parks and like across the board. All of those things are creative.
It needs the creative. That's what makes the magic.
Right. This isn't an accounting firm. This isn't a consultancy.
It is a business.
It is a business, but it is in the business of storytelling and then putting my business hat on, which generates intellectual property that then you can go monetize.
Yep.
And if you aren't churning out interesting and compelling intellectual property to build things around, you're dead in the water. I think Disney has gone through a period where some of the new IP coming out has been kind of meh, and definitely was failing to execute on building things that lived up to the intellectual property that they were trying to target.
Yeah.
That's got to change.
Need better storytelling.
It has to change.
Yep.
Because you know what did change and what did execute at a high level, and we don't see the E.T. and the Men in Black and all the rest of that stuff. It's the Harry Potter stuff at Universal. It's this whole brand new theme park that they just built in Orlando.
It's all IP based.
It's all IP based.
Celestial. Yeah.
But they nailed it.
Yep.
And that's what Disney needs to do.
I think this is a win overall. I hope it really pushes the creative boundaries and understanding that you do need to have an immersive land, that people will flock to that.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And when they cast a vision and then execute it at 70 or 80%, it's that extra 20% that we're all after.
Yeah, we still need that. Yep.
Like the rest is table stakes. We're all really in it for the garnish. And the garnish is expensive.
No, we need our dessert.
And it's fine. Insert metaphor here. But
give us the chocolate, Disney.
He's right. We need to see the sauce poured into the souffle to borrow the Disney Cruise Line Pala dessert. The sauce is super important, and we have to have it because otherwise, that's a fantastic souffle. But meh.
We need the sauce, and we need the amazing servers that go with it.
The people are where the magic comes from. We've said it so many times. That's where it is.
Yep. All right, Disney. Come on.
Let's get it. We're not anti-Disney.
No.
We are pro-Disney and we're pro-Universal because honestly, having these two organizations push each other is what's needed.
Everybody wins.
Yep, exactly. Especially us, and we're the most important. And I use us in terms of the royal.
It's the royal we.
Right, the royal we. All of us
Everybody.
win.
It's the all-encompassing us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening to our rants and ramblings. This is what I love doing on this podcast. So Thanks for sticking with us. Please do remember we are not affiliated with Disney or Universal or any of those mega companies' subsidiaries. These are our personal opinions and suggestions based on our own experiences. We recommend working with a travel agent or contacting these companies directly to plan your perfect vacations.
If you have any questions or suggestions or ideas of topics that you'd like to hear us talk about, or you'd like to be interviewed on the show to share your own experiences, please send us an email. It is podcast@ourmousecapades.com.
Please go ahead and follow us on social media. We're at Our Mousecapades. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and even YouTube.
And if you've made it this far, please give us a rating and review in your podcast app. It really helps us out a lot.
Indeed. And of course, please don't hesitate to share us with your friends and fellow Disney lovers of all ages.
Thank you for listening. We'll be in your ears next week.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.